Hello, how you guys doing? Hope you're having a good day, good evening, or good, whenever you get a chance. Well, I want. Oh, oops. Sorry about that. That's not what what I wanted. Um, we're gonna talk about this woman, Jasmine Crocket, um, and it's very. I'm gonna make up my commentary between.
Before moving to NetSuite, we had challenges. We had a local-based server. We had a highly customized system. Now let's zoom in on Jasmine Crockett here, because apparently some people that used to work for her have come out and said that she is a boss from hell. She's a diva, and I just love it here. We just recently heard about an article that was written about her where she tried to tell them, she tried to shut down their First Amendment rights and say, y'all can't release this article. I'm not going to let it happen. Well, they released it anyways, and we heard a lot of people speaking up against Jasmine Crockett, saying that she's awful. She's a terrible person. Everything you see on camera is absolutely fake. And we all knew this. We can tell from the get-go. We can tell from her language, her disgusting language that she spews out here. So it's not really any surprise. It's just I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, honestly. But let's jump over here to Fox and let's see what they got to say about it.
It's also getting Democrats in Texas and getting a little bit of attention because of their rising Democrat star, Jasmine Crocket. Turns out she may be a toxic boss, according to the New York Post. Here's the headline. Trump critic Rep. Jasmine Crocket is a no-show boss from hell who terrorizes staffers. Aides say, all diva, no wow. Inside, you see a quote, former aide to Crockett, saying that they don't like their boss. She is lying around her apartment, won't come into the office, and is just really indifferent to staff and will scream at them. She is never in the office and is very disengaged. She does her BS that goes viral and then freaks out over the most random thing.
I mean, it's a surprise. I mean, this is my favorite congresswoman. I enjoy her because I think if you promote someone like this, then you can just kiss the national election goodbye. And honestly, I don't think this was like a secret. She kind of does act this way publicly as well. But she's getting the Amy Klobuchar.
Did you just say acts this way? Okay, I guess it's not a play on acts, like ask a question. Let me ask you a question.
Well, but she's getting the Amy Klobuchar treatment. Abuses the staff. Kamala Harris, we're behind the scenes, abuses her staff.
That is not a good picture of her. Oh my goodness. Ooh-wee.
They really do the work, trying to look for viral moments, and she's really not effective as well. What piece of legislation can you say she has been successful on?
None.
What piece of legislation has she changed the country on?
None.
Well, unfortunately, fame is a very powerful drug, and clearly it has gotten to her head. I interviewed Congressman Chairman James Comer, and I asked him about her because she's on the Oversight Committee, and he said when she first came to Congress, totally different person than she is today. It's like night and day. And then we saw that do you remember the Atlantic profile piece? She said she was shutting down the profile and revoking all permissions like you have the authority to do so. Because the Atlantic reporter had the audacity to ask other Democrats about her. And then apparently her lock screen is like a photo of herself.
Escalade. She asked the staff to use the Escalade. They have to rent an Escalade to come pick her up. Now, normally, the members let their interns as well as their schedulers just use their personal car and they can pick it up. But she requires them to go rent the Escalade just to drive, and they have to be waiting outside of the Escalade with the door open.
I'm sure you're surprised.
You mentioned Amy Klobuchar. It's unclear whether or not Jasmine Crockett eats salads with a comb, which was, of course, rub on her. We reached out, actually, or Fox News Digital reached out to Rep. Crockett for a comment. We have yet to hear back. I'm Steve Ducey.
You had to mess that up, man. We're here back. But anyways, also want to hear what they're saying about it on the 5. I don't really watch the 5 too much, but might as well check it out, see what they got to say about it.
Here she is. The Democrats' rising star Jasmine Crockett is usually known for her expletive-filled tirades against President Trump.
The mofo that declared war. They understand that we have a Timo Hitler in the White House right now that thinks that he is going to become...
You think she got that from the Timo Obama that everyone calls, what the hell's his name? I forgot his name. Whatever his name, Timo Obama. We'll just stick with that.
I'm the dictator of the United States. Listen, Donald Trump is a piece of... Okay, we know that. Yes.
We had hundreds of people join the USCCA yesterday.
Y'all, can you imagine that you show up to your congressional internship just excited to serve your country? You show up, you are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and then boom. Your new boss is yelling at you, telling you to shut up, flapping her eyelashes like a deranged muppet and walking around Capitol Hill like it's her own personal reality show. Meanwhile, her wig is just looking like it lost a fight in a wheat whacker, right? I mean, it's just a mess all the way around, no matter how you look at it. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Jasmine Crocket. She's what I'm calling America's next top congressional narcissist, who continues to be top of mind, right? She always in the news, but it's not for anything serious, or at least serious legislative-wise. So today we're going to talk about why this woman has no business in Congress and why the New York Post and the Atlantic, they have pretty much uncovered what the rest of us already knew. We already knew that Jasmine was not a serious legislator. She's a social media star, but her sparkle is about to fizz out. So let's get into this. Welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I am your host, April Chapman, and today, y'all, we're going to be putting the spotlight on Congresswoman Jasmine Crocket, a.k.a. the diva from Dallas, who, according to this scathing report from the New York Post, is less of a lawmaker and more of a TikTok tyrant with a congressional paycheck. Now, the Post is describing her as all diva and no wow. And I said, wow, that's a pretty funny headline. But Jasmine Crocket has a whole lot of style and flair, right? Very demonstrative, and I get it, I'm the same way. But there's absolutely no substance behind her to back it up. Like, she got the loud mouth, the drama, all of the social media flair, but when it comes to being a real legislator, this is a no-show, I'm just saying. So instead of her doing her job, I don't know, representing the people and working toward real legislative change, what people actually elected her to do, she's very busy building a brand. And hear me clearly, I get that. I get that because personal brand imagery and personal brand building is very important. You always need to be thinking ahead. Congress, at least they should have term limits. It's not guaranteed. You might get primaried, you might lose your seat, and you always need to figure out, what is my pivot? What am I going to do next after this? However, in Jasmine's world, Congress is a set, and her staff, they're just there to keep the show going, no matter the cost. And we're going to learn a little bit more about that, because speaking of her staff, let me tell you, y'all, they're not just working under her. These folks are out here fighting for their life, trying to survive, figuratively. I mean, they're like just surviving under her. It's a very heavy-handed, overlording situation, because reportedly, this woman runs her office like a personal dictatorship. I mean, throwing tantrums, refusing to communicate like orangutans do, treating her staff like pawns in this political game where the only thing that matters is her ego. And so we're talking about her yelling at staff, being totally unresponsive when they need her, and then showing zero regard for anyone's mental health or well-being. So what I wanted to do, I just wanted to read a few excerpts from this article that this is not good. This is not good at all. And unfortunately, I mean, everybody can't be lying. Like, if everybody keeps saying the same thing about you, at some point, you gotta be like, okay, it's not you, it's me, right? So, according to this article, it says here that Crocket is, let me go back. It says, Three sources who have worked with or for Crockett says she's rarely present when TV cameras are rolling, and she terrorizes staff when she does appear. Crockett is not often found at her government-provided suite in the Longworth House office building, with one insider saying she prefers to work from her nearby luxury apartment building, sometimes for weeks on end. Quote, she is laying around her apartment, won't come into the office, and is really just indifferent to staff and will scream at them, the former aide said. Quote, she is never in.
I mean, you know, what is with these politicians? You know, what is with people that seem like when they get to a certain level in life, you know, you're working for the people, you represent the people. It seems like certain people act like they don't know how to handle money, and they let notoriety, cameras, TV gets in their head. And she sounds very fake and very bougie. And it's sad, man, that people are talking like that and it's reflecting like that. Then what I was pulling up was a video where you're going to hear from the people, see that what this man covered in her district. And it's really pathetic.
The office and is very disengaged. She does her bulls that goes viral and then freaks out over the most random things. Y'all, let me be clear. This is not random. Now, granted, a lot of this has to do probably with Jasmine's personality, but if the age that is being reported about Jasmine Crocket being 44, she is absolutely perimenopausal. That woman crazy. She losing her economic mind. There are hormonal things going on with Jasmine that is, she don't know what to do. She don't know where she's coming or going. On top of the fact that she's a liberal and she's an orangutan, and then you blend that with perimenopausal hormonal imbalances, and it's a recipe for disaster. I'm telling you, I ain't telling you what I heard, I'm telling you what I know. I am living through perimenopause, and had it not been for the Holy Spirit to restrain the foolishness that wells up in my heart, listen, I'm just letting you know, every day I have to die to my flesh and crucify my flesh and remind my husband that we gonna get through this one way or the other, and tell my kids, I love you. I don't know who that woman was 5 minutes ago, but I love you. Your mama loves you. Okay? But it says, a second source close to Crockett's team added, it is widely known that she's not nice to staff and is just not a really dedicated member focused on constituents. I told y'all, are y'all shocked? This is how the Iron Triangle functions, but the fact that she has several staff, former staffers, and aides, and our sources that are close to Crockett's team, everybody is saying the same thing. She says she is focused almost exclusively on being an influencer, not a member of Congress, said a third source who has worked with Crockett, describing her as all diva. No wow. And then someone says, let me just give you this quote. So, this part is crazy. It says, when Crockett does show up for work on Capitol Hill, often to attend a committee hearing where she deploys a made-for-social media attack on Trump, she prefers to have a staff member drive her the short distance to her office in a rented car rather than the staffer's own, a cheaper option commonly used by lawmakers. The staffer is expected, here's the rules, y'all, you know, always got to set the rules. The staffer is expected to stand outside the vehicle, which has to be an Escalade or similar upscale model, and open the door for her. Quote, you're technically allowed to do this, but it's wildly inefficient. Instead of using the scheduler's car, she rents a car every week in D.C. One source said, quote, she expects her staff to drive her around while she's in the back seat. They added, calling it a power play akin to treating the staffer like an Uber driver. Y'all, listen. I'm going to tell you how a little bit of notoriety and fame and influence can go to your head if you don't have the restraint of the Holy Spirit. Y'all want to hear this funny story?
She's very right. Wash.
I make some good summer barbecue, but I can't match these two hearty barbecue triple stacks from Firehouse Subs.
Yo, what's up, guys? We're in Dallas, Texas today, in the heart of Jasmine Crockett's district. It is rough, it is tough, it is hood, and it is foul, just like Jasmine Crockett. That's the whole persona, right? Tough talking, street fighting girl from the ghetto. That's Jasmine Crockett's entire aura, the attitude,
Looks like in the shitter to me.
the volume.
Don't tell me to calm down, because y'all talk noise, and then you're out of control.
The voice.
You know, the congressional seat is over 4 times as large as my House seat.
I'm trying to get clarification.
But there's a little problem with Jasmine. It's all a lie. She's code switching. She's a fraud, and we can prove it today. This is where Jasmine says she's from, but this is where Jasmine's really from. Welcome to St. Louis, Missouri, Jasmine Crockett's hometown. But let me show you where Jasmine Crockett's really from. Welcome to St. Louis, specifically the Republican suburbs of St. Louis, with the mansions, country clubs, and private schools. This is where Jasmine Crocket was raised. We're talking quiet suburbs, manicured lawns, college brochures in the mailbox, and neighbors who wave when they mow the lawn. This is where Jasmine Crocket went to school. It's called the Mary Institute and St. Louis Country Day School. It's one of the most prestigious institutions in the entire country, also one of the most expensive. Check this out. This isn't just a good school. This is the #1 school in the entire state of Missouri. It costs $35,000 per year to attend high school here. And the reason why is because the average test scores here guarantee your placement in an elite college institution. It's one of the best preparatory schools in the world. The average SAT score here is 1350, and the average ACT score here is 30. This is an elite institution. Did your high school have its own private Wimbledon? How large was your high school's lacrosse field? This lacrosse field is expansive. Did your high school have its own aquatic center on site? Can Jasmine Crocket swim? She has no excuse because she went here. This is where Jasmine learned to play clarinet by the apple tree on this beautiful campus of the Mary Institute, St. Louis Country Day School. Did your high school have its own private dock and pond teeming with colorful fish and wildlife? I think not. Neither did mine, because we're poor. But Jasmine is elite. After graduating from this elite country day school, Jasmine Crocket was immediately accepted at another elite institution, Rhodes College in Tennessee. Rhodes College is a private liberal arts school that looks like Hogwarts and costs a whopping $74,000 per year. That makes Rhodes one of the most expensive colleges in America. There are only 2,000 students enrolled at this institution, nestled in the rolling leafy hills of Old Memphis, and Jasmine, from the block, is one of them. But the elitism did not end there. Jasmine went on to attend and graduate from the University of Houston Law Center, where tuition runs a whopping $40,000 per year. In total, Jasmine Crockett's elite education cost close to $1 million. Just to talk like this on national TV.
Donald Trump is a piece of shit. Okay, we know that. Yes. He is. But in a functioning democracy.
Tisk tisk. What would Yasmin's English instructors here think of her now? How time goes by. I forgot. Jasmine Crocket didn't always used to talk like a hood rat. For most of her life, Jasmine talked like this.
to meet 5 people to get here.
After graduating law school, Jasmine went on to start her own law firm. She got elected immediately to the Texas State House and then moved swiftly to the U.S. Congress with the help of just a few foreign billionaires along the way. And now she's polling for president in 2028. If anything, Jasmine Crockett's life story is not a condemnation of systemic racism in America, but the true definition of obscene American privilege, that anyone from anywhere can be and do anything. This isn't started from the bottom, now we're here. This is started from the Neighborhood Watch, and now we're in the HOA. Here's what your average street looks like in South Dallas, where Jasmine Crocket represents.
Best part about Jasmine Crockett's district is free public bathrooms. Think about it. That's where your tax dollars are going. Proud New Deal. Man, someone was having a cookout right here. With the pan and the charcoals ready to go. Jasmine, why did you invite us to the cookout? Look, there's the pans. And here's the rest of the cookout right here.
And here's what your average street looks like in St. Louis, in the suburbs where Jasmine Crockett's from. Here's what a school looks like in South Dallas.
Here's an elementary school in the heart of Jasmine Crockett's district. Let's go ahead and check on the environment in which these kids are learning. We have burned down buildings in every direction. Nothing's open. FDJT has been tagged on this building. Everything is just blight. Everything is been destroyed. Empty booze bottles sitting in the parking lot. Did Jasmine Crockett write FDJT? Maybe that's her contribution here. Decline is a choice. None of those businesses are open. All of them have been shuttered and burned to the ground. This is where the students are learning. It's bad. So that's the big school in Jasmine Crockett's district. You can see the playground and everything like that. There are kids playing on it. Here's the walkway to school in Crockett's district. This is what the children have to walk through every single day. I don't know how many booze bottles there are, how many beer cans, and how much junk. Just a reminder that it's people who represent districts like these that want to bring you the Green New Deal. They're the ones who call themselves environmentalists. Remember that.
And here's what a school looks like in St. Louis. Here's what a sidewalk looks like in South Dallas. And here's what a sidewalk looks like in St. Louis. And here's what stores and shopping centers look like in South Dallas.
Never seen so many downed power lines in my life. It's like the broken windows theory. When you let one window get broken, you're going to let every window get broken because criminals think that they can get away with it. And Jasmine Crockett and people who represent her ideology have gotten away with destroying South Dallas. Look at this once thriving business, this once thriving area, and this is every single business that we see in the district. It's all a bombed out ruin of itself. It's a total collapsed society. What happened here? Well, it's pretty obvious. The progressive politics of Jasmine Crockett, single party rule, that has decided to vote against commerce, against the free market, and against safety for the people here. It's pretty sad that kids have to grow up like this. We're hoping for better. We're hoping the kids in Jasmine's district get to grow up like her someday, right? Texas has one of the most booming economies in the entire country. It has a bigger GDP than most countries on Earth. Yet in Jasmine Crockett's district, you can find homeless encampments right here behind us. A sad story about how this district's managed. So we're gonna go now because the homeless guy just came tearing off after us in here. It's dangerous, dangerous district.
And here's what stores and shopping centers look like in St. Louis. Get the point? Jasmine built her political career on the idea that she came from the struggle. In reality, she's using those who are struggling for power and treating the little guy like garbage. A recent article details how abusive Jasmine Crockett is to her staff, saying that she's lazy and erratic, screams at them, and that she uses them for grunt and brute labor, that she makes them serve her hand and foot like a queen and
nobody likes working for her because of this arrogant, elitist.
Our future won't be handed to us.
So, what did we see about Jasmine Crocket? It seemed like, when black people, because I know this is going to pertain to us, we really got to understand everybody that look like you don't have your best interest. You look what part the same party they represent. In each place, each city in America, it looks like South Dallas. We glad that they be the first black woman, the first black man. That's cool. But what are they going to do to do the right thing by their own people? When they going to put in an effort and fight? Why is it that you can go to, let's say, go to Dearborn, Michigan, and their representative, like Jasmine, who are Arab Americans, will fight more for their district? And when you go to Dearborn, Michigan, where the Arab Americans is, there's a couple of Arab representatives that go to Washington, D.C. When you go to Dearborn, Michigan, it's cleaned up. Why is that when you go to an Asian or Pacific representative, their district is cleaned up? Why is this? And I would like to ask people like Jasmine. All this showboat and clowning. Now you just got exposed. You're being exposed for who you really are. And now, and when it comes to voting, people in that district gonna remember you giving the other side the advantage because they see stuff like this. And really, she's for everything else but the people in her district where she come from up all the struggle. So it sounds like to me, Jasmine came from a black boule class. That's what it came from. And we don't like to call some of our people out. It's not wrong with being educated, but sometimes it's like, it goes back into the 1920s. Like they will select a group of blacks, what they call the gateway, to keep the rest of the black people back. And in her district is also Latinos and probably some poor whites and mixing it. But she won't do nothing for her district. That's sad. And the arrogant attitude, it goes to show you really have to know a person and see what they're really about their body. Are they really legit before you put this? It seems like once they get in an office, I mean, it's aberration. They talk, and they say, you see how humble she was? She talked like she got some sense. Now she brought some crazy mentality, like somebody is off the street and try to go up into the representative and it's embarrassing herself. It's one way to make your political argument against the administration, but do it in a classy way. This make some black people look, she like her make look bad, and it's sad that you have a lot of black people that get to a position like that, and they for everybody else but the people that help get them there, but they want your black vote. But once they get their black vote, they get to acting like Jasmine, treat her staff like that. That's a shame. That's pitiful, And from what I understand, her and the other Democrats down there, they doing something with their district, and it's a nightmare because she's not taking care of business. That's the reason why the governor down there is doing it. She wants to showboat off, and she just as worse is the racist ones, and she won't fight for the people. And that's sad that man had to pull that up to show what she was really about. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, but when it comes to voting this fall, when the next person you vote, see where their character is at. And black people, like any other people, don't vote for the color. Vote for the character. Alright then, take care, be blessed. See you on the next video.